Hi, I'm Chelsea. I'm the Geeky Ballerina. Today we are talking about elements of artistry, specifically musicality, and even more specifically dynamics. We've been talking about musicality for a few weeks, and we're starting at the very beginning so that you can make sure your students have a solid foundation to build on. So first we talked about rhythm, then we talked about tempo. Today we're talking about dynamics. Dynamics in movement and dynamics in music are the same thing. I love when we use the same words to talk about the same thing. That's just so nice. It's how strong or how soft your sound and your movement are. I think part of the reason the words align is because in order to play loud music, to play music that is strong and forceful, you need to have movement that is strong and forceful. You're bowing the violin, you're pressing on the piano keys, you're blowing into the trumpet. Strong movement leads to strong sound. Like all gorgeous musicians, accomplished dancers need to be able to work within a wide dynamic range. Can you tendu softly? Can you tendu strongly? Because the sound and the movement are so linked, we really just compliment kids when we see them doing things really well. Like, wow, your PK points were sharp like our music, stuff like that. Some of the words that we use to talk about dynamics are staccato and legato. So staccato are those quick plucking movements. They tend to be more sharp. Legato are smooth. So adagio is legato. Your rondejam is legato almost always. Almost always. You can do anything you want with a rondejam. You're an artist. Help yourself, but they're usually legato. Those are two terms that, depending on the choreographer your students end up working with, they may need to have some familiarity with that. Also, when you're searching on your music service for albums you want to use, see if you can find an improvisation song that varies between staccato and legato. It's similar to freeze dance, but instead of stop and start, it's changing the dynamics of your music. If you'd like to use classical pieces to have students improvise to and explore dynamics, Vivaldi tends to change dynamics in like a very clearly chunked way. Whereas Beethoven's Fifth Symphony, for example, has a lot of crescendo where it gradually gets louder and then decrescendo where it gradually gets more quiet or softer. Using these two composers is a great way to help students make sure they're listening. They're really listening and not just assuming they know what the music is going to do. A lot of the accompaniment we use in ballet classes doesn't fluctuate in dynamics very often. So we do need to be intentional about building in time to practice paying attention to that. If you're in a situation where the studio next door is very loud because it is a genre that just plays their music more loudly, if you explore dynamics with that as your neighbor, you're just setting people up for frustration because your students aren't going to be able to hear the changes. A lot of classical music written after about 1900 can get very, very quiet, and there's a lot of really cool opportunities in there for choreography, composition, improvisation. But if you can't hear it because the thud, thud, thud next door is making your mirrors bounce, don't ask for it. It's super frustrating. We focus on what we can be successful at. And then when you get these students in the summer and you have a different neighbor, then you can come back to dynamics. Or in a perfect world, you can talk to your studio owner about decibel levels for the ear health of all the students. If you're at a studio where they enforce decibel level regulations, you are at a beautiful unicorn of a studio, and comment below and tell us all where you are, because ear health matters. If you're looking for a fun game, look, I love games if they are learning opportunities. We can play a game on Halloween. No, not on Halloween. No. But we can play a game the day before Halloween as long as it is a learning opportunity. And one that is really good for intermediate and advanced dancers is to create choreography that is in opposition to the dynamics of the music. It's easy to do strong movement to match your strong music. It's a lot harder to flip that and it's a fun little brain teaser for your students. If you are interested in other elements of artistry, I do have 9 of them listed on my website, geekyballerina.com. The website is also where you can find the teaching resources that I've created. That's where my blog is, and you can sign up for my newsletter, where I talk about a technique tip and an element of artistry every month. As always, I hope you have a really great class.